You know that individual who laughs at absolutely everything? The one who finds humor in situations that would send most individuals into a spiral? Yeah, they've probably been through some stuff. And I'm not discussing about a detrimental haircut in middle school. I'm discussing about the category of experiences that fundamentally rewire how you observe the world. Let me paint you a picture. Someone cuts them off in traffic. Road rage? Nope. They're already mentally 3 steps ahead, wondering if that driver is experiencing a detrimental day, going through a divorce, or maybe just genuinely requires to pee. Because when you've survived your own storms, other individuals' rain showers just hit different. The rewired brain, operating on a different frequency. Here's what nobody explains you about individuals who've endured too much. Their consciousness literally operates on a different frequency. It's not broken. It's trained by necessity to become this survival masterpiece that's still learning how to exist in a world where the threat is no longer genuine. But there's something even stranger happening beneath the surface. These individuals develop what's basically an immunity to existence's chaos. Not immunity to pain, but to being completely demolished by it. They've learned that survival isn't just possible, it's inevitable. The empathy paradox. From hell to hyper-awareness. This is where things take a turn. You'd contemplate someone who's been through hell would be cynical, correct? Bitter, closed off. But often, it's the complete opposite. They become the most empathetic individuals you'll ever meet. And I mean aggressively empathetic. They can spot pain in others from a mile away because they've memorized that language fluently. A slight shift in your tone, they noticed? That forced smile? Yeah, they're already planning how to check in on you later without making it weird. They understand how to read silence, not just the absence of words, but the texture of it. Whether it's heavy, disappointed, irritated, or simply exhausted, they sense transformations in atmosphere the manner others sense transformations in weather. Most individuals walk into a chamber and observe furniture. They walk in and observe emotional temperature. Post-traumatic growth, bouncing forward, not just back. And here's something beautiful that comes from all this pain. They often experience what psychologist Richard Tedeschi calls post-traumatic growth. According to his research, about half to 2/3 of individuals who go through significant trauma don't just bounce back, they bounce forward. Their relationships deepen. Their priorities crystallize. Their appreciation for ordinary moments becomes almost comically intense. They'll literally tear up at a beneficial sunset, and they're not even embarrassed about it. Hypervigilance, the system that never shuts down. But then there's the part nobody warns you about. These same individuals often struggle with hypervigilance. Their threat detection system never fully turns off. Ever been to a restaurant with someone who requires sitting facing the door? Or someone who possesses 17 backup plans for a simple coffee date? That's not paranoia. That's a nervous system that learned the hard manner that safety is a luxury, not a guarantee. The victim allergy, downplaying their own pain. And here's something that'll mess with you. They often downplay their own experiences constantly. Oh, it wasn't that detrimental. Other individuals possess it worse. I'm fine, really. It's like they've developed an allergy to being perceived as victims. They've survived by explaining themselves they're okay, so admitting struggle experiences like failure. The irony is almost painful. Relationship patterns, loyalty, and distance. Simultaneously, let's discuss about relationships for a minute. Individuals who've been through too much often become either incredibly loyal or incredibly distant, sometimes both simultaneously, which is as confusing as it sounds. They'll show up for you at 3:00 a.m. without hesitation, but inquire them to be vulnerable about their own requirements. Suddenly, they're busier than a one-armed juggler at a circus. Why? Because closeness has historically come with consequences. When your early experiences taught you that connection can be unpredictable, your nervous system doesn't relax when someone gets close. It braces. Many develop this contradiction where they desperately want connection but are terrified of depending on anyone because dependence, in their experience, has come with a price tag. So they learn to require nobody, which sounds strong until you recognize it's also incredibly lonely. Adaptation masters, change as a survival skill. But then something remarkable happens that most individuals miss. These individuals become exceptionally beneficial at adapting to transformation. New job? Sure. Moving cities? Why not? Entire existence falling apart? Tuesday. And the humor. Oh, the humor is subsequent level. Dark humor specifically. It's not about being insensitive. It's about taking power away from pain. When you can laugh at the absurdity of your own suffering, it loses some of its grip. Comedy becomes armor. Every joke is a tiny rebellion against the things that attempted to break them. The control paradox. Micromanaging small, zen. About big. Now here's something that might surprise you. Individuals who've been through too much often possess an intense relationship with control. They'll micromanage the smallest details of their existence while simultaneously being eerily zen about massive uncertainties. Why? Because they've learned that the substantial stuff is often beyond their control anyway, but the small stuff, that they can manage. So yes, they'll possess an existential crisis about which coffee mug to use while remaining totally chill about career uncertainty. The contradiction is the point. Walking paradoxes. Holding opposing truths. They're walking paradoxes. Tough but tender, guarded but generous, hopeful but realistic. They've learned that you can hold two opposing truths simultaneously. Existence can be beautiful and brutal, often in the same breath. The grief nobody talks about, mourning the self that was. But here's what rarely gets acknowledged. There's a grief underneath all of this. Not the grief of losing someone, but the grief of losing themselves. They grieve the version who trusted easily, the version who laughed without checking the chamber first, the version who didn't rehearse conversations or anticipate danger in every silence. They grieve the self that experienced light, the self that didn't worry about being too much or not enough, the self that moved through the world without tightening their chest at every uncertainty. How do you explain you miss a version of yourself you barely remember? How do you explain someone that you're homesick for a place that existed only inside your own consciousness? A childhood you didn't fully get to inhabit, a softness you didn't get to keep, a freedom you learned about too late. This grief doesn't break them, it shapes them. It makes them quieter, more observant, more intentional. It turns them into someone who cherishes peace because they understand the cost of chaos, someone who values safe individuals because unsafe ones taught them how much it hurts. The real psychology, from survival to lighthouse, and maybe that's the genuine psychology here. Individuals who've gone through too much don't just survive. They develop a complex, nuanced understanding of what it means to be human. They understand that strength isn't about never falling apart. It's about how many occasions you can reassemble yourself, even when some pieces don't fit the same manner anymore. Their survival became insight. Their pain became compassion. And without even noticing, they became something rare, a lighthouse. Not because their existence was gentle, but because they learned to navigate storms that would have broken others. A lighthouse doesn't shine because it's perfect. It shines because T remembers the darkness. The wisdom earned through pain. So the subsequent occasion you meet someone who seems a little too okay with chaos, a little too comfortable with uncertainty, a little too quick to laugh at their own pain, just understand they've earned that wisdom. Every joke, every boundary, every moment of unexpected depth. They've gone through too much, and somehow they're still here, still attempting, still finding reasons to hope. That's not just psychology. That's poetry in motion. Join the community. If this hit home with you, please subscribe. And if you want to support these deep dives, hit that join button to become a channel member. I would genuinely appreciate your support. Here's some more videos that I contemplate you'll resonate with.